Hey everybody, I'm Philip, and tonight, right now, I am here to talk about Welcome to Derry, episode 2. Before I go any farther, there will be spoilers. Man, I have mixed feelings still about this. I did take proper notes this time. I didn't take notes for the last one because I wasn't sure, I wasn't even planning on doing a review for it, but I watched it and I was like, I want to talk about this. I did take retroactive notes after the fact. This one I took notes while I was watching it. So this will be more a traditional review that I do. So it'll be more of kind of like a talk about it for a little bit, then go to the notes and we'll go through the episode and things that stuck out, that kind of thing, which is the normal format. I would like to ask if it's possible to go through one episode without horrible CGI ruining a scene you've built up. Right now we're averaging 2 horror moments an episode. In the first one, they were bookended, beginning and end. This one, they happened in the middle and towards the end of the episode, in Ronnie's room and in the supermarket with Lily, respectively. And yeah, the one in Ronnie's room was pretty good up until the crappy CGI. So that kind of put a damper on things. The military stuff was a little less boring this time. Overall, the entire episode was less boring for me this time. I made it through the episode in one sitting, which is normal. So that's a plus. Found out more about what the military is doing. I don't know if I like it. We'll get into it more in my notes because I talk about it there. We'll talk about it now. I don't know how I feel about finding out what the top secret thing they're doing on the Air Force base is already. And I don't know about finding out what they are actually doing. It does sound like that they are looking for the meteorite that fell to Earth, that brought the entity of it to the planet, because the superior officer in charge says that they are looking for something that can manifest fear, which is what it does. So are we to think that the more they dig, the more power it has because it's being unearthed? I don't know if I like that. But I mean, I could be reading too much into it. I could be correlating two things that aren't. But it does feel like that a little bit. So I'm not exactly sure how I like that, really. Another thing that is kind of funny to me is that all these things are hallucinations now. Like Ronnie in her bedroom was a hallucination, and Lily in the supermarket was a hallucination. But the theater stuff, all real. Apparently it actually happened. We got a little misdirection in the beginning, which I was like, yay, and then it's like, boo, it actually happened. Everything else though is just a fantasy. What else happened in the episode? The military guy's family arrives, and we have like the scene with the mom trying to stop people bullying, which I thought was a really good scene, something I liked, as far as showing that like there's always been that notion of Derry's not right. There's something wrong with the town of Derry. And the fact that these bullies were picking on this kid and no one was doing anything, and then when she went out to help, everyone was looking at her weird. I thought I did a really good job of getting that point across, that something's not right with the people in Derry. See, I think you can get a message across without having to use shitty CGI. Or even just dial it back a bit. Like, the scene with the mom and Ronnie, it was going fine until the thing got up and CGI face, and then it got worse, and then it got worse. It got so stupidly CGI at the end that any tension or horror in the scene was lost. It's gone. You've just, it's evaporated. You've taken it away. And like with the supermarket, I thought they did a really good job of boxing Lily in as she was shopping, with the aisles being wheeled in. I thought that was well done. She's going through like this labyrinth and getting caught, in the middle or whatnot. That was good. And I didn't so much mind her dad, Pickle Rickener, in the supermarket, talking to her. Okay, whatever. But when the thing fell off and all the pickle jars smashed and it started reforming itself, and it just... that's when you lost the plot. That's when you lost the tension. That's when you, like, everything just vanished. It stopped being scary and started being silly. And I wish Andy Muschietti knew where that line was, because he crosses it all of the time. And this is going to be every episode now. I'm going to have to complain about it for as long as I watch it. I may not. We'll see. Like, I try and finish stuff if I start it, but there's been some stuff I just haven't finished because I lost interest. Well, let's go and go to my notes and see what I had to say specifically as the episode went on, since I take them as it goes.
Philip's notes.
All right, so we open up and we kind of recap what happened in the theater at the end of episode 1, and then Lily wakes up in bed. And so I thought it was all a dream. Cool. It was just a horrible thing that the entity put in her head. But no, it's real. Yeah. I feel like we're slowly building a new Losers Club from the ashes of that, with Ronnie and I think Will was his name, the new kid, who will eventually be targeted. So yeah, I thought it was a dream, was happy. But apparently that's the only thing that actually happened so far that was real. So, screw you if you like characters that they're building up. Gotta have stupid, crappy bully characters that are still alive. Why can't they be targeted? Why can't bad people be targeted? Why do bad people constantly get away with everything? Modern society. They're weaving the underlying racism in there, and it is in Maine, so, you know, it's not the South. And that was said in the last episode, you know, this isn't the South. But unfortunately, it's still there. Like the one dude who supposedly attacked, I think his name was Masters, that supposedly attacked that guy. And also, really cool, I liked how he found out he was innocent. That was good. I don't know if I wrote that down or not. But apparently, not only was the theater thing all real, there were no bodies. So that's a little interesting. Does the little girl, the little sister's hand that Lily was holding at the end of episode 1, is that not a thing? I know it's not a full body, but it's a body part. So there doesn't seem to be any evidence at all, other than like something horrific took place there. And at first I said, so we're not going to talk about the attack on the base, because that was like the stupidest thing that happened in the last episode. And when the reveal happened, oh my, okay. Yeah. But then I wrote, at least, you know, they reported it. It wasn't all like, we just got attacked, let's on the bed. Aw, shucks, I saved you again. Ha 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 ha. The kind of thing, it was kind of like, you're going to chase them and report it. Come on now. But they did eventually at some point. And we found out that apparently a Masters admitted it, which we touch upon that later. I already talked about the bullying and something's wrong with Derry, which I thought was really strong. Probably the strongest thing in this episode, if I'm being honest. And I think, again, you don't need to be in your face with something to get a point across. And I thought that proved it with how they handled it. Ronnie's grandma is annoying. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. And this is when I wrote more dodgy CGI ruining the moments. The mom being pregnant. But I did like the fact that when Ronnie was being pulled in to like this mouth, CGI mouth that was opening, then we saw a pair of eyes inside. So the first glimpse at what this thing really is, or what it's going to be for this season, maybe eventually leading towards Deadlights, perhaps. Although I am perfectly fine with it not being a specific shape at all. I'm okay with that. But we saw eyes inside a CGI mouth. Everyone is blaming the theater owner, Ronnie's dad, for what happened. And the one guy confronted the sheriff in the bar. Sheriff says, you know, there's no evidence. He still has rights. This is America. And the one guy says, this ain't America. It's Derry. And if, you know, you won't do something, then when election time comes around, maybe we'll put somebody in the spot who will do something. So then in the military side of things, we see that the military is digging up something at a site. Very much looks like archaeology. And we find out that this man named Halloran is possibly psychic. Maybe he has the shine. Not sure how I really feel about it. I don't know how I feel about the military stuff. I'm not enjoying it so far, but I also don't know where this is leading. I can only speculate. So, yeah. But apparently this guy is psychic or something. But he's also acting really strange. Is he possessed by it to unearth it on purpose? To get more powerful? And then something else I liked in the episode was the notion of Lily and Ronnie and their versions of what happened. Because Ronnie said what Lily told her, which is something came out of the screen. Or it was just something attacked everyone, like a thing. Whereas Lily said she didn't know what she saw. She doesn't know what happened. So I like the way they're playing the dad's innocence versus Lily being forced to go back to Juniper Hill. And that, like, if Lily corroborates Ronnie's story, then she gets sent back to the hospital. But if Lily pretends she doesn't know what happens, she's free from the hospital, but Ronnie's dad potentially gets charged with multiple murders. So I like that rock and a hard place choice that both girls had. You know, their motivations for saying what they said, and the irony, both things happened. Ronnie's dad got arrested, and Lily went back to Juniper Hill. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, I don't know. Then we find out, in a plot twist that really wasn't necessary, I guess, I don't know. The superior officer set the entire attack up as a test. See if he was brave enough, or it would pass the test. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I say that, but I'm like, eh. But I can't outright say I hate it, or I hate it. Because we don't have all the pieces yet. But so far, I don't know. So then we have the scene where Lily is in the supermarket doing grocery shopping, and she gets boxed in, like I said a little earlier. And I did like how the faces of the kids who had been killed were on the cereal boxes. I like that a lot. I thought that was a clever touch, and something like that works for me. But having like Pickle Rick Dad Voltron thing just doesn't work. And this is when we discover the top secret things going on in the Air Force Base. It's called Operation Precept. Apparently, I could be misremembering, but apparently the Koreans and the Soviets met in like Nevada or something, where they were trying to put something like a way to fire nukes on America from Cuba, where they could hit all the cities, all the major US cities, in a matter of minutes instead of having to go halfway across the world. But to counteract that, they are looking for a weapon buried in Derry that's been buried for a long time. Looking for the weapon that they say can manifest fear. So I said earlier, are they looking for the meteorite that it came in? And there's a lot of questions, and I'm sure they'll be answered. I hope they'll be answered. But, I wrote, is it happening because the military is digging it up and uncovering it? Weaponized fear? How did they find out? How did they know it could do that? And the only thing I can think right now is that, if I said before, that Halloran is like a secret agent or like a covert operative or whatever for it, that he is directing them to help dig it up, to unleash more of it, to help it grow in power. So maybe he is either a manifestation of it or, being controlled by or working with in some way. Because how else would he have, the shining, and all that stuff? That's my theory right now, that he is working with, he's on the dark side. Because otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, I hope that we explained that a bit more, which I'm sure we will. But right now, and then last thing I wrote is Lily is sent back to Juniper Hill because she has her breakdown in the supermarket, breaks a thing of pickles, and her mom drives her back to the hospital, and the one guy looks at her really creepy, which and that's all for my notes. Anything else? Or for my patrons over Patreon? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. This isn't the strongest start to this, I don't think. Like, it just feels kind of mid, and I'm not really digging the plot beats we have hit. I do enjoy what's going on with the kids more than I do with the military stuff. At least the military stuff is making sense to the plot. But Yeah. I don't know. But I guess we'll see what happens. And for the first time in a long ass time, I am actually going to be reviewing something as it comes out, which is something that never happens. I'm hoping to get these two up here in the next couple days. I'll have to work very, very hard on it. I'm still working on re-editing all the older stuff I had to take down because I almost lost the channel again due to copyright crap and had to do it all from scratch. So 99% of what you've seen lately is re-edited stuff being brought back. And I think VHS Halloween was the first new thing in a minute. And this, if I can get these out before this weekend, then I can watch episode 3 as it happens on, I think, Sunday, then review it that night and have it up maybe the next day or the day after. And I can do that for the rest. It's just cool to be able to be current with something, even if it's not a reaction. Because if it was a reaction, it would be a lot harder. Because reactions are very, very time consuming. All right, if you saw episode 2, what did you think? Are you bothered by the CGI, or is it just not bother that much? Like, I'm gonna wrap this one up. As always, I don't have a fancy outro. So simply say thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.